Welcome back to Redneck's Dirty Hands. I'm Pete, and today we're not working on any Dodges or putting wheel bearings in or brakes or any of that jazz. Today we are not doing a job that pays the bills. We're doing a job that's going to give us some thrills. We're back on, finally, the Yamaha powered 1000cc golf cart. Oh geez, this project's been a long time in the making here. I think I started it a couple of years ago. Life happens. There's a lot of things have happened in the last couple of years when I started this thing, and I just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. So, we do have it up and running. JP's got the fuel tech wired up on there. We got to redo the wiring harness on it, but it does spark up. It does make all the good sounds that you want a golf cart to make. But it's all just tacked together, and there's a few things I gotta finalize on this before we can actually spin the tires and get it going down the road. Everything's just tacked together. It's all just mocked up. I got the engine mounted in there. I got the rear subframe built. I widened the front end. I got a second front end from a golf cart, cut it up, put it on there. But the alignment's a little off. The camber, the wheels are lean, and I'm going to be burning the inside of those tires off. And I want to be burning those tires off, not those ones. So I'm going to have to adjust that, kind of get them a little closer to straight up and down so we're not burning off the front tires. We just want to burn off the back ones. So my plan is, we're going to blow all the cobwebs off of her, straighten up the front wheels there, and then pour the Lincoln wire to her, weld up all the frame and everything, support the engine. I got to adjust and true up that back axle, make sure everything's good. And poor girl's been neglected and sitting around. That's my Dukes of Hazzards horn on there, but they're all just dangling. They're busted up. So I'm going to have to fix those up because I want this thing, I want to be able to hit the button. Got to remount the fuel tank in there, but I got to pull the seat off. Got to pull that back cover off because I got to access that frame that I made. Weld everything up. I got to support and weld all this front end here. I'm probably going to have to move the top bolts and lean that whole strut out. I've got everything all tacked in, so I can't really twist the whole frame without cutting all the tacks, but I figure just undo that bolt, pivot it out. That'll straighten out the wheel a little bit. I don't know if you can tell in the video there, but she's leaning like the Tower of Pisa there, so I want to true that out. So I think that's the best way of doing it. I'll just make a new mount hole for the top of the strut there, pivot her out, and then I'll have to dial in the toe, get them so it's not cross-eyed or spread apart, and then hopefully JP can swing by and address this issue of a wire. He's a PC programmer guy and all that. I don't even know what any of this stuff is, but this is not gonna be good. So we'll have to tighten this up and then, hopefully get some fun noises coming out of here. Wham, wham. But before I go and tear it all apart and start welding everything, let's refresh your memory and give it a listen. If it'll start. I don't know. It's been sitting quite a while, but fingers crossed. I think, put the battery on charge. It's got some juice. All we can do is hit the button and see. Okie dokie artichoke. Come on, baby. Fuel pump kicked in. Push button. Here we go. I gotta go sit down. If that don't get you going, I don't know what does. Oh, I've missed that sound. All right, that's to give me the motivation. Let's get going on this project. Let's blow the cobwebs off and pitter patter, get at her, start welding. There is more dust and cobwebs on this thing than there is in Sleepy Joe's head. Oh yeah, she was definitely a dirty girl. before I go and start stripping it apart and getting it ready to weld up and everything, I think the first thing I should do is address the alignment first. So I've got a tape measure front and back. I'm just going to measure. These tires are good. They both got groove right down the center, so I can grab right from the center of the tread on each tire, measure the front, measure the back. I'll set the toe to zero that in. I'll go basically 2-0, make it even front and back. I know when it's all said and done, I'll probably want to toe the tires in a little bit. It is rear wheel drive. Typically on rear wheel drive vehicles, you want a little bit of toe in. Under power, it'll kind of want to toe out, something like that. But I'll set that, and then I'll undo these guys, and I'll set the camber to get that close to zero. I want to get everything as close to zero as I can. That way I know I won't be scrubbing the tires off on the front of this thing. And then I can go ahead and weld this whole front frame section. Like you can see, this is basically, all this is just another front end from another golf cart that I cut off and just stacked it out so I can widen the track on this thing, because this thing, it's short, it was narrow. I figure if we're gonna have 180 to 200 horsepower on this thing, like those old Pontiac commercials, wider is better. So widen this thing out. I got the rear axle widened out. I want this thing to be as stable as possible, because I don't know what the gearing and the tire size and all this, but I mean, the engine of this is out of a Yamaha R1. Like, they're freaking fast. I think they do the quarter mile in like 140 something mile an hour. This won't have the same gearing as a street bike, but it's only gonna weigh like 1,000 pounds or less, and 180 horsepower. It's a posi rear end. This thing's gonna be squirrely. It's gonna do donuts, and it's gonna be a handful to hang on to, that's for sure. So we want the alignment to be fairly decent, so we're not all over the road. So we'll set the toe and get ready to go. And then we'll set the camber. I can't think of anything that rhymes with camber. But anywho, so I got this one set. It's running fairly straight. So I'll hook her about halfway up on the tire in that center tread. And we have got 47 3/4 here. And 47 1/2. So I got to toe this one in just an itty bit. I wonder if I can do this. Am I going the right way? No. Wrong way, Chico. Okay, what do we got here? 47 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 47 5/8-ish. Ish. Not on the front side. Well, wouldn't you know it? 47 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Okay, I'd say we're pretty close to zeroed in there, so I won't touch anything there. Now I will undo these guys. I'll put the jack under, lift her up a little bit. We'll pop these bolts out, and I'll get these guys leaning out a little bit just to straighten them up, get them true, parallel to the floor, maybe a little bit of lean in, and then weld her all up. I'm not working alone today. My buddy Jack's here. Thank you. Just take the weight off of it. Alrighty, it's just a couple of 14 mil wrenches to undo. Oh, that guy. A bit on the tight side. Now I might get lucky, and maybe all I gotta do is just slot these holes a little bit. Just to, oh, is that bolt gonna come out of there? Oh, you dirty dog. First design flaw. The bolt's gotta go in this way, not that way. Come on, you dirty dog. Just need a little bit more. Oh, no. Well, that's why I'm not an engineer. We go by trial and error, and this is a bit of an error. Ugh, crap. Hold on, I need a punch or something. Oh, let's see if we can tippy tap it out here. Oh, okay, there we go. Crisis averted. So I'm wondering, I don't know how far I gotta go. I'll let it down. I think what I'll do is I'll just slot these holes so I've got some adjustability. So I'll be able to set the camber, fine tune it once she's all said and done. So if I open this hole up, that hole up, then we'll be able to, I don't need to go any further that way because I know she leans in a bit. So I'll just bring the hole out this way and then do the same thing over there. And hopefully we'll be good to go, tickety-boo. So I'll just use my die grinder with the carbide tip there, and I will open up these holes. It's no problem to get at this one. This one I should be able to get in there and open it up from both sides. And then anytime you're using one of these carbide bits, you most definitely want to engage the old safety squints. These things chuck little shards of steel everywhere, especially in your eyeballs. Ask me how I know. Oh, and just like that, that thing chewed through there faster than a beaver through a tree. But we got some slotted holes there, so the bolt fits in. Nice one. And then we have adjustability. The only thing that might happen is by moving it further out, we might get a little bit of lift on the suspension because coming out and staying on the same plane will put a little bit extra downforce on this strut. So it might lift the front end, but I mean, this thing had a pretty aggressive rake in the front anyway, so we'll see what happens here. I'll just see if I can tip this sucker up in here. There we go. Multitasking. Boom, look at that. So now we got full adjustability. Nice one. I'm gonna leave it all the way to the outside. I'll lock it down, putting the bolt this way instead of that way, so work smart, not hard, right? So crank this sucker down. Beauty. We just gotta do the other side and then set it down and see if we're in the ballpark. Alrighty, I got both of them all slotted out and she is sitting back on its own weight. I'm pretty happy how that looks, and now I do have some adjustability. So, I mean, if I got it a little bit off in or out, I can adjust it. And just to double check it, I got this little bubble, I don't know. It's for setting alignments and stuff, but I mean, a level's a level is a level, right? You can see the bubble floating around in there. I just got it stuck to this, you know, ruler, straight edge, whatever. And if I pop her onto the edge of the tire and just hold it up there, look at that bubble. Basically bang on zero, buddy. Same thing on the other side. Look at that. Bang on zero. So, the tire is level to the floor, so I can dial it in or out a little bit as I need to. I may have to double check my toe now that I've kind of changed that. Could throw it off, so I'll recheck that. We are just like Donald Trump's toilet in Trump Tower. We're golden, baby. I double checked the toe. We are mint, good to go. I just put my jack under there, not taking it right off the ground, just taking up the weight. So when I go to weld it, nothing moves or whatever. And then, yeah, we'll start making some sparks here and one step closer to terrorizing the town. This is gonna be one hot project, but before I start welding it, we don't want it to get too hot, so I better move the old gas tank. We'll move it further back here. Yeah, we don't need any sparks landing up on there. And then, yeah, nothing's bolted down on here, so I'll just block that up with a block of wood. There's some electrical in here I'm gonna have to try to undo. JP kind of knows where all that stuff goes, but I can get in there and weld a bunch of this stuff up in the meantime. Can't forget my welding helmet with Christina on there. Nice one. All right, let's start throwing sparks. A little bit of a fire, not too bad, not too bad. Alrighty, well, front end all welded up. Check. It is like a high fiber diet. She's good and solid now. I mean, you can stand there. I got no problem putting all the pressure. I can put all my weight on it. Oh yeah. Now we can move on to the back. I'm going to have to pull it all apart now. Front end is mint if you squint. So now I got to come back. I'm going to have to move the fuel tank again, take the seat off. I'm going to have to pull this back body plastic off or lift it up out of the way because I got to build up the rear axle and all that. I forget how I did. I've got a rod going through the shifter and then a support, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I did all that and get that out of the way so I can lift this all up. Hopefully JP, I don't know, with the wiring, I might just have to lift it up because I don't really want to go unhooking none of this. I mean, it runs right now, and guaranteed if this guy unhooks any of that, it ain't gonna run ever again. So I might have to wait for JP to do that, or I'll just gingerly lift it up so I can get in there and weld up everything I gotta weld up. It's slowly making its way closer to out the door, but I'll get some of this stuff out of the way. After a little bit of farting around, I got the bolts all out of my shifter and this support, so I'm not sure what wires can stay and go. This should probably disconnect the battery so we don't create some more sparks here, but I just got these quick connect ends on, so they come in super handy. Maybe I'll peel the battery right out of here just to be safe. Tickety-boo. And then I got no idea what the heck is going on with all this stuff. JP's got wires running this way and that. We got zip ties on here. Handy dandy Swiss Army pocket knife will take care of that. So long, sucker. I got no freaking idea what the heck is going on with all these wires. This is just a gong show. There's no way around it. I gotta get this tub off of here so I can get down and around on my subframe and the motor mounts and weld everything. I might have to actually take this whole subframe and everything out from under the cart so I can finalize the axle. I gotta weld the big blocks and the mounts from the subframe that I built to the main frame of the cart. But like, I have no idea why this thing has so many freaking wires on it. Like, it's just a motorcycle engine, you know, but I think the only bit of wires that I got to remove to get this body shell off are these ones here. Looks like we got two hardwired going down to the crank sensor. JP's got that going. There's a plug, and then I think it's just the fuel injector. So I'm just going to take my masking tape and Sharpie. I'm going to mark the injectors 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll unplug all those, and then I think I got to cut. Yeah, I got to cut these guys for the crank sensor. So I'll cut those two, label them. I'll just number them. I'll cut it, put a 1 and a 1, 2 and a 2. That way we can wire it back together. And then I should be able to lift this guy off of here. Should be able to. Can't even unplug the frickin' things. Okay, so I've got the injector harness unhooked. Cut the crank wires, got them labeled C1, C2. So hopefully that is all we got to unhook there. And then I undid the fuel lines. I got them pinched off and capped so we're not leaking fuel all over the place, because I am going to be welding on here. We don't want to start any fires. So we're just going to set all that stuff up on there, and then we should be good to go. There we go, just like a funny car. Maybe I'll build it like that so we can just hinge it off. But now you can see the meat and potatoes of this, and there is the 1000cc or 998 R1 motor. Now I got to get in here, figure out if I'm going to pull this whole subframe out. I'm going to have to address this axle, make sure it's all true. I got to make sure the sprocket's true, the brake rotor, and the hub flanges, stiffen up the back end, and then all these motor mounts and everything are all just tacked in there. I got to make some gussets and braces, strengthen everything up, weld it all up so when we're power shifting, the motor doesn't come right out. Say hi. Now with that body shell off, underneath this mess of wires, if you believe it or not, is an engine and the subframe. But as you can see, like, I've got my dual 1-inch pillow blocks there. I got a 1-inch shaft going. It's basically just like a big, huge hinge. That's what connects the subframe and the engine to the original frame of the golf cart is right here by these guys, and everything pivots right there. I've got my motor mounts. I got to finish weld those, and I got to put some standoffs and gusset those up. I got my shifter tower there. I got a brace. And then I've been working on the rear end here. Now, the rear end, this axle is just a 1-inch shaft here with the 1/4-inch keyway. Now, that 1/4-inch keyway ain't going to be enough. I mean, this thing's going to be 180 horsepower minimum. And I mean, we've gotten rid of the whole air box and everything. We've shortened up the exhaust, and with the fuel tech, I think it's safe to say we can probably get her close to 200 horsepower. So that shaft, I'm a little iffy whether it's going to be strong enough. So I've got 4 pillow block bearings on it, one out by the wheel, over here, and another one out by the wheel. I built these standoffs for the axle to support it, and then I've got just put in these braces. So I got to make another brace to tie the shock towers together so it has the support so these can't flex up. I'm not too sure how strong that 1-inch axle is, but I want to keep this axle and the plane as level as I can under load and everything, so there's no deflection or anything like that. And if I can keep it that way, then I'm pretty sure this axle will work, but I'm probably going to have to weld the sprocket hub onto there. I'm probably going to have to weld the flange hubs for the wheels on there because, like I said, that 1/4-inch keyway, this thing hooks up, it's going to shear that instantly. You know, and then my thinking is with the chain and all that, you know, I've got her pretty tight there. Those holes in the pillow blocks are slotted, so I think I might just put some blocks on here with some bolts, and I can push on those to just keep adjusting the axle back to tighten up that chain. And then, I mean, hey, no point in having a tensioner on there. When the chain gets a little bit sloppy, just put a new chain on it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like I'm not going to be daily driving this thing. We're just going to be having fun with it, so I don't know how much wear that chain's going to get. Probably a lot. But I mean, if we can get away without having a tensioner on it, then sounds good to me. The exhaust is all mounted and everything. I've already got the braces made to go out to the ends of the axles to stop it from hopefully flexing up. And then I got the cross braces so it doesn't flex back. But in between these shock towers there, I mean, they could still curl these guys in. So I got to put a stiffener bar in between here and here. And so I could either just come off about 1 inch or 2 with a couple standoffs and just box it in. Or I could try and get fancy with it and make it angled. I'll cut a piece 20 inches long and we'll eyeball her from there. You know you're redneck when you use your favorite shop chair to support the end of the tube while you're cutting her on the bandsaw. Measure out 20 inches. And then we'll give her a cut. Oh. 20 inches don't quite fit. Well, god dang it. I can't cut 20 inches in here. The throat of it's only 17.5. So I remeasured inside to inside of those shock towers is 17. So we will cut this at 17 and then we'll do 45 standoffs. It'll have a cool little angle look to it. Pitter patter, get at her. We'll make her look good. Perfect. So we'll just mock that up. I could probably put it around there somewhere. How long do I need? Looks like I'm gonna need 2 short pieces about 4 inches long. I got these little 4-inch guys cut with a bit of an angle on there. And I figure I'll stack this guy up on here and we'll center him up. I think that'll be pretty freaking good there. I'm just gonna trace that guy. I'm gonna cut this tube. I'll notch it out. Boom. We'll go cut those out. Hold her in. So we'll cut these, I don't know what you call them, fish mouths out, and then we should be good. Alrighty, so I got my pieces all cut up and ground down, and now we just got to mock it up in here. I think we did have a wee bit of a slight miscalculation because I didn't take into account as soon as you cut her down, she's gonna get shorter. So, we might have to stretch her out. It's okay though. I am a certified gap filler, so I'll be able to tack this together, I think, and then I'll gob her up with some welds. You'll never even know. Oh, she'll be beauty. This here's the real tricky part. You gotta hold everything just so we can get her tacked on there. I only got 2 hands. Gotta hold the part right, gotta hold my tongue right. We'll just give her a little tack-a-doodle. Jeez Louise. Come on, you dirty dog. Just not cooperating. We'll do her one side at a time. This is definitely when you need 3 arms instead of 3 legs. Now, if somebody could just reach in there and tack her for me right now, that'd be sweet. The old redneck eyeballs tell me I gotta have that sitting like that, so we'll just tack that loosely. Oh, yeah. We'll make her happen here. Just like so. Oh, yeah, buddy. That right there is looking mint. Oh yeah, that'll fit in there. Beauty. So I'll weld this outside all the way around, and then I'll weld her onto there. Okie dokie, artichoke. Just hit her right here. That right there is a thing of beauty, but it's also a hot potato. I gotta put some freaking gloves on. After welding that up, I can't even hold it anymore, but beauty. 0 gappage on there, and fitment is beautiful. So I think I'll probably put it somewhere around there. That way I can still slip my mufflers out if I gotta. We're just using the old calibrated redneck eyeballs here. Let's tack her in. Stand back, take a look at it. Oh, looks a little crooked, but we'll deal with it. Good enough for the girls I go out with. Right, Christina? Might as well just burn it in. Okie dokie, artichoke. We got that back brace in there. While I'm in here, I might as well use some of the round tubing I got that I made the engine standoffs with. This is fairly heavy wall tubing, so I'm going to put a piece in here that has a gusset like that, and then I'll put another one over here to kind of pick it up so we can make this corner nice and solid. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll tie in a brace to the shifter support, and then we're getting close. This is going to be a big project. We're not going to get her done today, that's for sure, but we're making progress, and progress is good. Alrighty, I got her cranked right up on the jack there so I could weld all underneath the rear axle assembly. So I've got this thing stiffer than a 2-day-old piece of pizza. So this is hopefully going to keep that 1-inch shaft from deflecting and whatnot. But I did have to, I made these flanges for the wheels when I first put this thing all together, but I was noticing this thing, like that's only about 1 inch wide, the collar there, and it's only got the 1/4 inch keyway, which, you know, 180 horsepower. No way that keyway's going to hold up. So I got these flanges, so they're about 3 inches with the keyway, and then what I did was to lock it in there, so I got the 3 inch keyway, and then I drilled a hole straight through 5/16, and then I tapped the end of the flange there, so she's locked in. So it's got the keyway locking it and this bolt locking it, so she is tight right. They won't spit the wheel off. It'll hold it on there. Hopefully the 3 inch keyway will be enough to keep it from spinning. And I mean, look, we got beauty smooth rear axle. So sooner or later, I'm going to beat it like a redheaded stepchild, but I'll take it easy in the beginning, so hopefully I don't strip that out. But I want to get this thing together so we can rip her to Mexico. Just got to drill a hole through there, and then I'll tap this flange, put another 5/16 bolt in there, and then I think that's the axle and everything done. You know, so we're making some good progress. It's been a long time coming, a couple of years since I started this, but now we're finally back on it, and things are looking good. So that guy is seated right tight up against the bearing. It's flush on the inside here. The keyway's running down the front edge, so I'm going to drill straight down at a 90-degree angle to that. Hopefully I can drill this nice and straight. Put the safety squints on. Every once in a while, we'll just step back, make sure we're going straight here. So far, so good. Safety squints are freaking fogging up. All right, we made her. That's the first pilot hole. I'm going to run through it with a 17/64 drill bit, because that's what the size you need the drill to tap for 5/16. Step the hole up one more size. Beauty. Right through there. So now I can take this flange off of here. Just like so. And then I'll tap this end here with the 5/16, and then put it back. I'll drill through this side with the 5/16 bit, drill through there with the 5/16 bit, and then we can bolt her in. Just want to make sure we got the tap going kind of straightish, and then run her in. Perfecto. Beauty. Okay, that's good. We'll take the keyway out of there, and then we'll just clean her up with some memory cloth. Just get the burrs off of there. Nice one. Put our keyway back in. And we'll get our martello, tap her home. Oh, that wheel stud just came out of there. Nice one. Now, in a perfect world, this will go through. Oh, guess what it is not doing? It's not going through. Let's just give her a bit of a Raymond. Like so. Come on, Betsy. Oh, just like that. I do believe she is threading in. Not too happy about that wheel stud just falling out of there, though. Just with a few little tippy taps. Just like so. Threaded in. I mean, when it's all said and done, I can put some Loctite on there so it locks in there. And I could put another nut on this side and crank it down so it locks it on. So now we got the added bonus of that bolt going through there, locking the flange in, plus the keyway running through here, holding it on. So we should not be tearing off the flanges. I'm just going to pop this guy back in. We'll give him a couple of tippy taps. Oh, right as rain. Whoa, nice one. It's freaking hot outside. Must be 5 o'clock. Looks like beer clouds out there. Well, I've been at this pretty hard for a couple of days, and the progress that I've made so far, I'm pretty happy with. Let's take a look. So I got the wheels all back on. I wasn't gonna weld that hub sprocket on there. I wanted to keep it, you know, so we could service it. But, I mean, hey, this thing's gonna be pretty gnarly as it is. And if we end up breaking the sprocket or the axle, we're just gonna replace it as a unit. That's only like a 1-inch block with the keyway in there, and there's no way 180 horsepower is not gonna shear that. So welder on there, so we're locked solid. I don't want the first test rip to be a disappointment. So we're gonna rock and roll with that. And look how smooth she spins. Oh, this thing with 180 horsepower and low rolling resistance is gonna be sketchy. So we're getting there. This thing is coming together nicely. You know, we've got it it's a full roller. It's all welded up here now. You know, my buddy Remington was supposed to come down here and help me weld this thing up, but you know, he's got a life. Oh, speak of the devil. Hey! Normally it would be Jim.
You can call me Jim.
You're a bit late there, buddy.
Week or so. You got all my work done for me.
Well, I left a little bit for you. You know, everybody's got their own day jobs. Everybody's busy, you know. But you are just in time. You know, I have been giving her pretty good on this thing. I've got it kind of back together and everything. I welded the subframe, welded up the axle, trued everything up. You know, put this bar in here so the shock towers don't move in. So hopefully we don't get any flex on the axle. But I saved the best for last for you. There's some overhead welding we got to do.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
I love it when you're laying underneath there and the sparks and everything go right in your freaking ear.
Then you can hear the sizzle.
Oh yeah, you can hear the bacon frying in there. So maybe what I'll do is I'll let her down. I will go to the beer fridge because I think I deserve a break. And then you can get under there and weld that up.
Sounds good to me.
Pitter patter. You get at her. Okay. Oh yeah, you can jack her up, no problem. She's good and solid now.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't think it's twisting.
Hopefully, this is what it looks like coming off the line. Just a dangling.
I'd have to get some tire dope for that. Not that I know what that is.
They do have, they got slicks that would be like this size. I've seen them on like junior dragsters and stuff like that. So maybe I should be looking for some of those, although maybe I shouldn't get my hopes up too soon. I might be dead after the first test drive.
Well, in a few test drives, they might be slicks.
That's the money shot. Look at that.
All right.
Yeah, you can get used to this. It's nice to see someone else working for a change.
No doubt. You know I'm expensive, right?
Like a 30-pack?
Like I need my wife's Honda fixed expensive.
Oh, here we go, another trade-off.
Here we go.
This guy, I tell you. Maybe while you're down there doing all that, I might fiddle around with my chem block drifting stick there. She's a little sloppy loose, and I gotta pretty up the ends on there, so I'll let you wheel around in the basement, weld that up, I'll do that, and then we can ship this off to JP, and he can get this thing wired and fired, and then maybe next video we'll be ripping this thing.
Oh yeah.
That looks like a man that's finished his job. She's all welded up under there, buddy?
Everything's good to go.
Okay, nice one. So, I guess we can slam her back down on the ground.
Oh yeah.
This thing, I'm telling ya, I'm not gonna get any sleep until this thing's up and running. I'm just like, ooh, I want to drive it. Thanks for the hand welding up the last little bit of it there, buddy.
Better late than never.
Right? So now I think we can both enjoy a beer.
Oh.
Just got the front plastic mock back on and the back one just to kind of show, you know, it's getting there. That's kind of what she looks like. You know, we're missing the seat and all that jazz right now, but I do have a roll cage, or not, it's not really a roll cage. I made one out of aluminum, so it won't be very strong if we flip her on the lid.
It's cosmetic roll cage.
Yeah, but I am thinking, because we got to pull that CF Moto apart for the smart car body, maybe we rob the roll bar off of it and put it on there, because it's not a bad looking roll bar.
No.
And I think it would go with the theme of this thing. You know, this thing looking cool. We want to keep it looking cool, but let's drink this in. Take a look at this baby. Well, I mean, you know, we didn't get a whole lot accomplished in this video, but I've got the rear end all set and ready to go. The front end is figured out. This thing's a good solid roller. It's all fully welded thanks to my buddy Remington. So now we got to ship it off to JP, tidy up that wiring so it's all safe and secure and all that stuff, and neaten it up. You know, we don't need any wires getting sucked into the chain or anything like that. And then we got to figure out if the cooling system's going to work and if this thing is going to go down the road under its own power. I'm pretty excited to try her out. Hopefully in the next week or two, we will be, and then we'll get a video of it. Oh, sure. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. You know, have fun doing this. It's good to be back on an old project. Started that over 2 years ago, and she's finally coming to life. So stay tuned. Take her easy. Cheers.